If you haven't liked our page yet, please kindly take out your phone and take a picture of this particular Facebook page. And you can also, all our talks are recorded on the broadcasted and recorded on YouTube as well. Today, we have three speakers, wonderful speakers, very experienced birders. All right, so let me introduce Henry Goh. He's MNS Selangor. He's also the vice chair for BirdLife. He joined MNS in 2006, and he especially likes bird watching. So he has continued that to the present day. He was the chairperson of Selangor MNS branch from 2007 to 2014, and he became MNS country president from 2014 to 2018, and he is the vice chairman of BirdLife International Asia since 2007. I will introduce everybody now so that we can optimize our time. Izzat will be our second speaker, and Izzat has been a member of MNS for 8 years, and he's currently the bird coordinator for this special group for the Selangor branch. Previously, he was the secretary for My Garden Bird Watch project, the first ever nationwide bird survey in Malaysia, and is still ongoing. He's very passionate in bird watching and bird conservation in Malaysia. His dream is to travel the world doing bird watching in every continent. Very nice dream indeed. And Chuang, he's the current chair of MNS Penang. He's been birding for 15 years. Most of the time he birds in his home state of Penang, but also includes Kedah and Perak as well. Occasionally he joins the bird race and various scientific expeditions. All right, so now we will start with Henry. And just keep in mind, the quiz will open up in about 40 minutes. And kindly take your time to do the quiz. And we have prizes sponsored by Penang and also Selangor branch. And if you have any question, please key into the chat box, and Adrian will help us to compile the question when we finish with the three speakers. Okay, Henry, you ready? Over to you.
Thanks, Buti. Hi, and good afternoon, everybody. It's so nice to see some very familiar faces. I think some of you I've not seen since when I actually left the presidency of MNS. So it's good to catch up. So thanks to MNS Negeri Sembilan and Malacca for the invitation. Buti, particularly to you, thank you for the wonderful introduction. Only thing is, I think a minor correction there. I am still the vice chair for BirdLife International Asia Council, but since 2014, not 2007. Thanks. Fraser seal have always been a special place for me, and each time that I visit the hill station, there's always something new. So I always look forward to each visit. So let me just share with the audience here today some key highlights, which I hope you will find them useful, whether you are planning for your first visit or returning to Fraser Seal for the 10th time. Fraser Seal is one of the three main hill stations found in Peninsular Malaysia. The other two being Cameron Highlands in Pahang and Maxwell Hill in Perak. Hill station is a term coined by the British colonial rulers in the early 1900s and
Henry?
Was a favorite.
Sorry, Henry, are you sharing screen?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I'll just run through this short introduction first.
Okay, my bad, thanks.
Okay. Now, where am I now?
One of three hill stations, is it?
Okay, in the 1900s, in the early 1900s, was a favorite place for civil servants to visit during the weekends. And Fraser's Hill was also well known among locals and international bird watchers, as one of the premier bird watching sites in Malaysia. The cool climate and largely undisturbed forests found here have made bird watching a pleasant recreational pursuit for both the bird watchers and nature lovers alike. Now, due to the well-preserved forest surroundings of the hill station, the montane bird species diversity here is relatively high. Frasers Hill is also the venue of the annual Frasers Hill International Bird Race, a bird watching event where teams compete to identify and record the highest number of species over the extended time period, hosted by the Frasers Hill Development Corporation, FHDC. The annual bird race has been organized since 1988, so it's slightly over 30 years now. The bird race is one of the main bird watching events in Malaysia and has attracted both local and foreign participants. It is also listed as one of the major tourism events in the Tourism Malaysia annual calendar of events. Now, as I mentioned earlier, due to the almost pristine forest found here, virtually the whole of Frasers Hill area is ideal for bird watching.
Okay,
This includes the area at the bottom of the lower gate, known as the Gap, and the Frasers Hill Town Board area. Bird watching and nature appreciation activities can easily be carried out along the many public roads leading to the various bungalows, private houses, resorts, hotels, and public facilities on the hill. Now, this is made possible due to the fact that the most original forest still exists up to the edges of the road. Some of the more popular bird watching sites include the Gap, Frasers Hill Road, Jalan Girdle, now known as Telecoms Loop Road, Jalan Air Terjun, Jeria Waterfall area, Bishop Trail, Herman Trail, and of course, Pine Hill Trail. Okay, now I'm going to share with you, I'm going to put share screen and go to my presentation. Give me a second, I'll just enlarge this. Can you see it now?
No, Henry.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, hang on. Earlier on, it was working okay, yeah?
Yes.
Now, maybe you let me know where else do I, okay.
Did you click the share screen right at the bottom there? When you move the cursor to the lower area, you should see a chat share screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you click on that, and then you have to select the right. Then you have the various window you can open up. One of them should be your slides.
Where is that gone? That seems to have direction.
Can you stop sharing? Maybe you stop sharing.
Trying to find the sharing part.
You move up, you move your cursor up to the top.
Yeah.
You see a stop. Is there a stop sharing? A red button.
It was there just now.
Okay, then that means you already stopped. So you go down, back down, and click on the share screen.
Share screen is the one in green.
Yes, correct.
Which I have done that. Oh yeah, I got it now.
Okay, now you move to your presentation.
Okay, right.
Great, great, okay.
Okay, right. I think it should be okay now. Now, today, essentially, the topic would be on birds of Frasers Hill. Just some fingertip information on Frasers Hill. It's located about 100 kilometers from Kuala Lumpur, approximately about 2 hours of driving on fairly good roads. All you need to do is just follow the north-south highway and exit at Rawang Toll. Follow the Rawang signboard and then look for Kuala Kubu Baru. Once reaching KKB, there is another 30 kilometers drive to the gap. Okay, you can also arrive in Frasers Hill by train from KL Central. It stops at the KKB station, and then you need to take a taxi to bring you up. But do make arrangements for the driver to bring you back, because at Frasers Hill, there are no cabs or no taxis that are actually based there. How high is Frasers Hill? It's about 1,456 meters above sea level, or ASL. And the daily mean temperature is around about 20 degrees all year round. And around January is dips a bit lower, gets a bit colder, averaging about 18.9 daily basis, and can get as low as 14.5. So you have to be prepared with some warm clothes if you're planning to visit at the end of the year. Number of bird species in Frasers Hill, this figure is sometimes debated, but I think it's around that region on average, 250 plus minus. Now this is based on information available in 2012. So therefore, the bird count, which is due on Frasers Hill birds, will be conducted, in fact, effective from next week. A team of counters has volunteered. They have come from all the MNS branches, mainly from Selangor. Thanks to Izzat for the shout out. And also some volunteering from outside of Selangor. And now in this regard, MNS and BirdLife International is collaborating with Persatuan Alam dan Warisan Frasier, or PAWBF, to undertake the bird count. And this will go on for a 1-year period. Now this slide is a bit dated, so the date has actually been chosen. The delay is due to the travel restrictions that we are experiencing due to the NCO guidelines. Now, more info and a calling for volunteers, I'm referring to Q2, Q3, and Q4, which will be in June, September, and December. So there will be still opportunities for members to volunteer to become counters up in Frasers Hill. Hang on. Okay, I think when one travels, some of the important areas is where to eat. Where to eat, and I've just listed some of the restaurants and outlets in Frasers Hill. Frasers Hill is fairly economical, I think, in terms of food. It's not that expensive like in some of the high-end hill, what do you call that, resorts. So you find pleasantly surprised that food is not very expensive. And listed down by not in order, all the various outlets, some of the key areas closer to the town. And on accommodation, you have the list there. There are apartments, there are bungalows, as well as individual places. But I think one of the area that you can actually check too is to go to the portal, the reservation portal for accommodation, which is agoda.com or booking.com. I think they have plenty of listings there, which you can actually search and find what is suitable for you. Okay, before I go into the birds of Frasers Hill, I would like to share this one map of Frasers Hill. If you look at the map, it essentially covers the whole area. Now, looking at the key at the left bottom, the dotted line stands for trails. There are a couple of interesting trails for those who are interested in hiking and trekking. And along the trails, you could also bird watch. The next one is actually the normal roads. Yeah? The roads which are nicely tarred and easy to drive. So you can actually drive, stop, do your birding, and then continue from there. Or if you prefer, you could also do a short walk for some of the trails. The longer ones, you can practice the drive, stop, drive thing. And the last one is essentially the new road going down. The thin line is the new road going down on the way back. You may be aware that now Frasers Hill, you can actually travel up and down 24 hours because there's only one way up and one way down, as compared to the early days where you have to wait at even hours or odd hours to actually go up and down the hill. The starting point, I would suggest that if you look at the map closely, I know it's a bit small, but I think if you sort of have it in front of you, you would be able to see it more clearly. Well, I'd like to just highlight the starting point. You see the golf course here? Okay, the golf course, this is the landmark. And then in front of the golf course, there's a sports complex. Now this is essentially the center of the town. Okay? Puncak Inn is there, and then the dispensary, TNB. So this is where, when you first come up from the gap, you drive up, you would actually arrive here. Right? And then after you have taken a rest or check-in, then you decide which way do you want to go, left or right. You see, all the roads are interlinked. Whether you go left or you go right, at the end of the day, it meets up. So losing your way in Frasers Hill, it's definitely not an issue. Yeah, you will be able to find your way back. Okay, now this is one route that I would like to just share for you to run through. Just follow the cursor. You start from the center and you actually come down here, and then you can actually go to Kingswood. Yeah, Kingswood House. And then you can actually follow the road further in, and you reach Richmond. Now this is where the famous, I would say, the gathering of the Malaysian hill partridges are. For those who have been there, you'll be able to see them at certain times of the year, of the day. And right along the way, you'll be able to bird, because it's actually the road traverses, along the forest. So the forest is actually on your left and right as you traverse, yeah, as you drive slowly. And then you move back here and start going in to this road, where you take you through to what is now known as Telecoms Loop. Okay, Telecoms Loop is the longest road, where you actually move around one way. When you reach the Sime Darby bungalow, you drive up straight, but when you return, you actually loop back and come back here. Right? You exit and return to to the other side of the road, where Glen Bungalow is, right? And from there, you could also bird on your next day or so up from Glen Bungalow all the way up to the Bishop Trail, where you'll find the red-headed trogons. They are quite frequently seen there, and also other smaller species in that area. Now, having done that, you might want to go up to Juria Waterfalls, and that's where you take this route. Again, using the town as a center, depending on where you stay. Silver Park Apartment is another popular place where people stay. And from there, you can actually take a shortcut from there. A small roundabout takes you through to Rompin, and then following that, you take a turn down to Juria Waterfalls. So along the way, again, if you look at this sign here, they are all birding spots. Yeah, you can actually stop and take a look. Yeah. So it's quite easy, and of course, the last point that I would like to highlight is the pine hills. Yeah, pine tree hills trails. This will be good for those who like to trek. It takes 7 hours for the average trekker, and 7 hours down, 7 hours back. So this is one of the toughest trekking trail in Frasers Hill. Yeah. The more seasoned trekkers can do it at much shorter time. Yeah. So essentially, I think that gives you a snapshot of how Frasers Hill is set up. Yeah. Not difficult at all to move around. So what do you get to see? These are just some of the birds that you would normally meet up. The one on the left, the fire-tufted barbet, is popular and quite frequently seen in the hill station. This is also a very of high interest. Silver-eared Mysia, yeah, is another attractive 6 colors. This bird has got 6 colors on its plumage. It's one of the most colorful small bird found anywhere. The one on the right is actually a migratory species, yeah, Siberian blue robin. This is an adult male, and you find them around the migratory season in Malaysia starts around about October, maybe late September, October, right through to March. So if you like to see some of the migratory species, these are the months that you could visit. The other common bird is the long-tailed Sibia. You normally see them flying in a flock, quite chatty, yeah, as they move around. Okay, and of course the Verdita flycatcher, which is another sought after bird in Frasers Hill. Red-bearded bee-eater, you can see on the way to Juria Falls. There's one spot there where it is quite often seen and heard. Orange-bellied leaf bird is another very colorful bird. This is a male that is very striking color that you can see in some of the places where there are bottle brushes flowers. Yeah, this is a bottle brush. That's where they collect the nectar from. Yeah. And people always have a question: where can I find the common green magpie? Yeah. If you look hard enough, I think, and know some ask some locals, you'll be able to find this bird usually late in the evening or early morning in a couple of places in Frasers. It used to come to Jalai Resort, but unfortunately Jalai now is earmarked for a major development. So most of the birds there are going to move away, hopefully to another spot and not just disappear. So that's development and nature, I think, has to balance, has to go hand in hand and not be tilted towards, high-rise building or massive development at the expense of the habitat of birds as well as wildlife. Because on a good morning, for example, in July, in the old July, you could easily hit about 30 in your checklist in the morning. Just a couple of hours birding there, you'll be able to see about 30 species, at the peak. This is actually a iconic species only found in Fraser seal, or endemic to Fraser seal, the Malayan whistling thrush. Again, this bird, you don't see it often. You need to have a bit of luck to see it. But I think with some research and also with knowledge of where they are, that shouldn't be a problem to eventually get it in your sight. And for most, especially the new birders, it will definitely be a super lifer. Yeah, not just a lifer, but a super lifer, because this bird is rare. Okay, these are the two cute birds that actually endears to a lot of people. The little pied flycatchers. The one on the left is a male, and the one on the the one on the left is a male, and the one on the right is a female. Two same species, but totally different plumage. It's quite unique in the bird in the bird world. Some, like the large Niltava, also has a totally blue fluorescent male and a brown female. Yeah, nature has a way of building their creatures around for humans to actually admire. Orange-headed thrush is a migratory species. You can actually find them in Frasers Hill. The last I saw it was actually at Herman's Trail, at the slope of Herman's Trail, very skittish. So it's likely that if you accidentally stumble into it, it's unlikely that you're going to be seeing it, because they would tend to just fly away and hide. So a lot of patience if you want to sight this migratory species. Again, as I mentioned, end of the year, early part of the following year, be a good chance to see this. Plus, of course, the other migratory species. This one is more or less like a, how should I put it? It's like a mascot, It's like a mascot of Frasers Hill, the red-headed trogon. And for most bird watchers, this is the one species at the top of the list. Yeah, the want list or the wish list that they would like to see, and for the photographers also to get good pictures of this. And I think in most trips they are there. Of course, in some occasions you may not be able to find it, but that's all about birding. If they are there, they are there. If they are not there, try another time. So this is my last slide. Yeah, I would like to share more of these pictures with you, but the Bhuti controls the time. He says you only have 20 minutes. So I have to humbly obey that and stop here. So thank you so much for your support and your attendance. Yeah, and I'm sure we have also participants and audience from outside of Malaysia. So these are some of the multilingual thank yous that we express to our supporters.
Thank you, Henry.
Okay, thanks, Futi.
Thank you so much for taking your time. Okay, so now we move to Izzat. Izzat, over to you.
Okay, hello everyone. Let me share my screen first.
Yep, can hear you clearly. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank Vuti for inviting me for this talk for this evening. So first of all, I would like to welcome all of you to my talk. I'm Izzat. So today I'm going to share with you about birdwatching site in Selangor. I'm the coordinator for the Selangor Bird Group. So Selangor Bird Group is a special interest group park under Selangor we and sometimes indoor agile. So we would like to embody the spirit of Muragila, which is always in high spirit and very agile bird, of new birds in the locality. So usually birders in Selangor will coordinate themselves to twitch for that bird. So for the Selangor birders or for the Selangor branch bird group, our objective is to promote bird watching and appreciation of wild birds. We also want to increase awareness and education on the conservation of birds and their habitats. And lastly, we also would like to contribute to the study and records of birds in Malaysia. In our group, we extensively using the eBirds to record our sightings so that everybody will know about the latest or maybe a new sighting that pop up in Selangor. So on the right side is just a picture of pied fantail. So I'm sure most of you have seen the bird, but if you haven't seen the bird, it's just at the just like that. So the fantail name came from the way it's spreading its tail like this. So just like a fan. Okay. So for today, I'm going to talk about range of habitats that are available in Selangor. I will focus on five habitat in Selangor, which is first in lowland forest, park and urban area, sub-mountain forest, coastal or mangrove, and lastly, I will go into the peripheral grassland. So for the first site, which is called Perdik Congkak Nuang Recreational Forest. So for this particular presentation, I would like to focus on the place. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to gain a special permit or special access to this site. So if you have free time or if you're this recreational forest is located at the foothill of the range. It is adjacent to the Forest Reserve.
Is that?
The entry fee for per day is free of charge. My advice, especially at Chongqing, is the land first and
Is that? Is that your internet is currently quite low, so maybe you can share the presentation, but turn off your video.
Yeah, can you share? Okay, wait.
Okay, now yes. but when you present, maybe turn on yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, now is it better?
Yes,
Okay, sorry for the disruption.
no problem.
Okay, so I will just continue. Okay, it's from per day. So from eBird sighting, in per day, there's about 175 species, while in Chongkak, 228 species, and Nuang is 135 species. So this is some of the famous birds that you can find at these three sites. The blue-banded kingfisher is commonly seen at the Perdek and also Chongkak site. So blue-banded kingfisher is one of the important species that is being used as a key indicator when they are assessing the important bird area. So the presence of this bird, blue-banded kingfisher, indicate that the site is still doing well or is good. So we also have a dusky broadbill, which is one of the family in the broadbill family. And then in Chongkak, I'm sure most of the birder, they know about the existence of the oriental dwarf kingfisher in that site. And also you can get a banded kingfisher in that site. Next, in Nuang, there's a special hornbill that you can find there, which is the white crown hornbill. So as far in my knowledge, Gunung Nuang is the only place where you can get white crown hornbill in Selangor. Previously, there's a record at Taman Rimba Ampang, but unfortunately, that site is already gone to make way for the highway. So now Nuang is still a good place for you to get a sighting of a white crown hornbill. And besides that, in that three sites, you also able to see trogon in the area. So you don't really need to venture all the way to the Taman Negara to get a view of a trogon. Two trogon that you can find in the area is a diet trogon and also a scarlet rum trogon. Besides that, this area is also famous for the migratory birds. So I just want to highlight two of the commonly seen, and not really commonly seen, two of the migratory birds that can be found in this area, which is the tiger shrike and also Malayan night heron. Malayan night heron, as you can see the picture here, is a juvenile bird. As I know, there's only one sighting so far, but maybe with the more birder doing the bird watching there, the sighting might be increased. Next, I'm going to talk about Forest Research Institute of Malaysia, Kapong. So this is a 545 hectare site adjacent to the Bukit Lagong Forest Reserve Kapong. So this area is managed by the frame, and to get there you need to pay 5 ringgit entry fee, and if you bring camera you have to pay another 5 ringgit for the camera fee. The birding can be done around the park compound, especially at the lake area and also at the Malay tea house. I don't have the map here, but if you go into the website you can look for the Malay tea house. In that area, there's also a birding track called Rover Track, but unfortunately, the Rover Track is closed to the public for now to allow the area to rejuvenate after heavy traffic of public. So for this frame, the habitat is a lowland secondary forest, and from eBird sighting, there is about 270 species has been sighted there. So some of the famous bird that can be found there is a brown-heart owl, chestnut-winged cuckoo, and scaly-breasted bulbul. For the brown-heart owl, my advice, if you want to catch a glimpse of this bird, you may stay over at the park until late evening, maybe around 6:30. So usually the bird will hang on the pole, will perch on the pole. And then for the scaly-breasted bulbul, it will usually appear at the fruiting tree near to the Malay tea house. So there's a high chance for you to encounter the bird when the tree is fruiting there. And then next we have the black and red broadbill, which is another family of broadbill. So previously you have seen the dusky broadbill. So this is now a black and red broadbill and also black and yellow broadbill. This bird high chance for you to sight them at the lake area. And also you are familiar with the gold whiskered barbet. Okay, next we go to the third site, which is Taman Botani Shah Alam. So Taman Botani Shah Alam, previously known as Taman Pertanian Bukit Ceraka, is located, of course, beside Bukit Ceraka Forest Reserve. The habitat is like an orchard and lowland secondary forest, and to get there you have to pay an entry fee for 3 ringgit. This site is famous for the wintering hooded pita that come at the same site almost every year. So I'm not sure about this year, but for the past 2 or 3 years, hooded pita sighting is almost guaranteed in this site. Besides that, another bird that is synonym or famous with the Taman Botani Shah Alam is Jambu fruit dove. Okay, so I'm just showing you the birds here. So this is a long-tailed parakeet. This one also can be found in the park. Greenbill malkoha and also hooded pita, the one that I talked about. And then here is the most sought after bird by most birder, which is Jambu fruit dove. So there are specific site in the park when the tree is fruiting, the Jambu fruit dove always come and appear to feed on that tree. So you just keep watch out for the sighting in the in your local group about the birds. Okay, beside that, you also can see blue crown hanging parrot, black hornbill in the side, and also gray-breasted spider hunter, and also blue wing pita. Okay. So in this side, you can actually take 2 pita, which is the hooded pita and also blue wing pita. Next, I'm going to touch on the Gap Road. So I still cover Gap Road because basically Fraser Hill is a part of Selangor. So it's in the, like, if you are on top of Fraser Hill, actually you can stand on 2 states, on Pahang and also on Selangor. So I'm covering Gap Road also in this presentation. So it is a 8-kilometer winding road before you reach Fraser Hill with elevation over 877 above sea level. It provides amazing view of Titi Wangsa Range and miles of green valley. So this picture below is one of the picture that I took at the Gap Road. The birding in this area is free of charge, but you need to be mindful when parking your car on the roadside because the road is quite narrow. The habitat is a sub-mountain forest, and from eBird sighting, the Gap has a sighting about 224 species. So this is one of the famous bird at the Gap Road, which is the helmeted hornbill. It is a critically endangered bird. And you, even if you don't have a good view of the bird, from its silhouette, you can for sure identify the bird from its long tail and its bald head. Okay, and then at the Gap Road is also famous for the orange-breasted trogon, bamboo pecker, and also white hooded babbler. These 2 birds, white hooded babbler and bamboo woodpecker, you can find it around the bamboo clump near the Gap Road. So they always hang around the area, and there's high chance for you to see the bird there. Okay, next, of course, you have the ochraceous bulbul and black-crested bulbul, and sometimes over the valley, you can catch a glimpse of a wreath hornbill flying over the valley. And the Gap Road, you also can get yellow-vented green pigeon. And for the fact, actually, Gap Road is quite famous for the yellow-vented green pigeon. So if any of you haven't seen the yellow-vented green pigeon, you can try Gap Road to get the yellow-vented green pigeon. Okay, so we'll go to the next habitat, which is the mudflat habitat or coastal area or mangrove area. It's a Kuala Selangor Nature Park. It is a park that is managed by MNS. It's quite a huge area, but the birding actually can be done around the trail that's circling the park. Okay, so it's a 201 hectare wide of tropical forest, and while the rest is a swamp forest. The entry fee is only 4 ringgit, and if you are MNS member, you only need to pay for 2 ringgit. it's pretty safe to bird there, but my advice to you is to be aware of monkey and mosquito. So if you're going into the park, don't challenge the monkey and bring a lot of mosquito or insect repellent. So from the eBird sighting, Kuala Selangor Nature Park has sighting of 134 species. So this is some of the bird that you can see at Kuala Selangor Nature Park. You can get pink-necked green pigeon, Brahmini kite, mangrove blue flycatcher, and also grey heron. So this is one of the moment that I managed to capture in my camera. So the grey heron is actually sunbathing. So it's opening its wing in the delta formation to dry itself. So some studies saying that they are killing the parasite on their body. Some say they are drying off their feather, but God knows what the bird is doing. But it's a very interesting moment that I've captured. Okay, and then in the park also, you can see greater flatback, lace woodpecker, little brown cuckoo, and mangrove whistler. So I just want to advise, if you are in the park, watch out for the mangrove whistler, because many birder, they just dismiss small brown bird when they're in the park. So the mangrove whistler is quite undescriptive bird. So it's actually quite unique looking bird actually, because you can see from its dark black bill and also quite whitish underpart. So it can be differentiate among other birds. So if you are in the park, watch out for the mangrove whistler. And then next one, I'm going to talk about the Jeram coastal area. Actually, I want to highlight the North Central Selangor Coast IBA. However, the area is quite huge because it's covered the whole coast, this coastal area. I want to highlight Jeram coastal area because it is the most accessible point. So it is one of the entry point where you can access the view of the mudflat. So if you go to the eBird hotspot, there is a map for the Pantai Jeram. So this mudflat is being utilized by thousands of wintering and resident shorebird that come to feed on the exposed mudflat during low tide, and some of the birds also use this site for the high tide roost. It is a critically important to birds and under high threat from aquaculture industry. So from the eBird sighting, there's about 85 species. So let's see what are the birds that can be found there. One of the raptor that is famous in that site is a white-bellied sea eagle. And this is a picture of mixed flock of plovers, knot. I can see other godwit, yeah. So you can get a mixed flock of waders in this site. And this is two birds that I want to highlight, which is Norman Greenshank and also lesser adjutant. So the Norman Greenshank and the left side is the common Greenshank. So you can see the difference with the slightly upturned bill, almost whitish head, bicolor bill, and yellowish leg. So this is the non-breeding plumage for the Norman Greenshank. So Norman Greenshank is quite important bird, important migratory bird because it is a endangered bird. So the presence of this bird on this side is very important. And also we have the lesser adjutant. The lesser adjutant is a vulnerable species. So it's and its number is not that many in this world. In my knowledge, there is no nesting or breeding record have been reported in Selangor area for this species. So we suspected the bird to breed further in the peat swamp forest, the Raja Musa Forest Reserve, or maybe in the mangrove forest, which is not accessible to the public. So I hope the MNS might conduct another expedition to look for the nest for this bird. Okay, and then next I'm going to cover Tanjung Karang and Sekinchan Paddy Field. So this is quite near to the IBA MY011, which is the North Central Selangor Coast. So it's a vast area of paddy field with bird life always on the move, depending on paddy planting season. So if you want to visit this site, you have to plan your time accordingly, because my advice, best time to visit is during February or August or January and June. So for the first, these 2 months, February or August, the condition of the field is usually semi-flooded field. So this is usually after farmer done planting the paddy. So the shallow depth of water attract waders to wading into the paddy field. And then on January and June, it's usually after harvest where the paddy field is dry. So sometimes you can get raptors in the area, and also some of the birds also they are feeding on the leftover rice that fell after the farmer finished harvesting. Birding can be done by driving around the main and inner road of paddy plantation. However, it's better to go in a small group because it is easier to navigate due to the narrow road. And from my personal sighting, I have recorded about 89 species from these 2 sites. Okay, and of course, when you're talking about paddy field, you cannot talk about the egrets. So in this site, I have seen all 4 egret, which is the cattle egret, little egret, great egret, and I don't have a picture of intermediate egret. I'm talking about the common egret, yeah, not the Pacific reef egret and other Chinese egret. And also in that area, there is a sighting of a open-bill stock. So this open-bill stock, it seems like they are invading Malaysia territory. They can be found all the way from the north and all the way to the south. Yeah. Okay, next I'm just showing about some of the other birds, water bird that can be found in that habitat, which is the cinnamon beaten, eastern yellow wagtail, long-toed steen, and little ring plover. Okay. And then lastly, I want to highlight the grassland habitat, which is Pulau Indah Klang. So this habitat is, how to say, it is quite an interesting habitat because it is small, but it attracts quite a number of birds because of its proximity to the seaside actually. Okay, the unique grassland with small patch of degraded mangrove forest. It also had attracted several rare or first record in Peninsular Malaysia, and unfortunately, the habitat is disappearing at an alarming rate due to the sand mining and development. This area is not protected, so some of the forest has been cleared to make way for the sand mining operation. If you want to go there, you are advised to drive 4-wheel drive or high clearance car because some of the location has patches of soft sand. And from my personal sighting, I've sighted about 63 species from this site. So this is some of the famous bird species that can be found in that area. So the copper-throated sunbird and also the mangrove pita. This is the 2 resident bird that can be found in the area. Famous, most birds are looking for the birds there. And then this is actually the first record for Peninsular Malaysia, which is the Eurasian Skylark and also the common starling. So I'm quite fortunate to be able to see the bird there. And this is the oriental plover, which is one of the uncommon plover that can be found in the area also. And this is of course Ashy tailor bird, one of the common grassland bird. Other bird that you can found there also the brown stripe, the Savannah nightjar. So as you can see here, it's actually sitting with 2 chicks actually. So the one on this side is the baby. Yeah, very well camouflaged bird because I almost stepped on it actually because the bird are very confident in its camouflage. And then another 2 starling that can be found in the area, the rosy starling and the white shoulder starling. So this is not this is uncommon starling actually. So it is quite interesting for at Pulau Indah to be able to get these 2 birds. Okay, with that I end end my presentation, I just want to promote about, if you have any question about Selangor Bird Group, you can just email it to our email. We also have Facebook group, MNS Bird Group Selangor Branch. We also have our website, pipefantail.wixsite.com/pipefantail. And lastly, I would like to give a big thanks to my teachers, because I'm still quite new in bird watching. I still have a lot to learn from them. So my teachers are being Sang, Carol, Mark, Leung, Lau, Wei Ong, Andy Lee, Tang Tok Hong, Wai Kong, Nina, David Lai, and many more. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Izzat. Very enlightening experience. Although only 8 years in MNS, but he has a lot of experience and of course very good teachers behind him. So now we move to Penang, where Chu Eng will take us there. So I will share the slides. Chu Eng, you ready? Hello? Hold on, let me just get Chu Eng.
Yeah, I was cut off.
Okay.
Somebody don't like me. Okay, let's start.
Okay.
Okay. Zoom don't like me.
Slides are there.
Okay, shall I start?
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah, I'm chewing of Penang branch. Okay, so Penang food, but it's also well known for birds. Actually, there are 400 plus species overall on the mainland on the island, and it's sort of a bit of a crisscross. About maybe 300 plus are common on both sides, and a few are only found on one side, not the other side. So in total, we get about 420 species of birds and counting. It's a bit confusing. New birds being sighted, and also new naming and splits and lumps and these sort of things. But anyway, just enjoy birding. So this is Birding Penang, the title. So the first page are actually mainly Selangor birders down there. Yeah, I was cut off again. Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes, Chu Eng, yes.
Okay, okay. Go to the second slide, Eddie. Okay, Penang Hill. Okay, this is Penang Hill. It's cooler, but so this is actually in the habitat. It's a sort of a private habitat lah. You have to pay to get in, but you don't have to go there to see everything. You can go to the public areas of Penang Hill. So I named them starbirds. So birds like velvet-fronted nuthatch is fairly common on Penang Hill, surprisingly. And Penang, we have only one confirmed makoha. I think it's a chestnut-breasted makoha. So if you see any other species of makoha on the island, let me know. The usual sunbird, crimson sunbird, purple-throated sunbird, and the black-crested bubu could be escapee. And we have two iora on the island, the green iora and the common iora. And you'll be surprised to know that the white-bellied woodpecker is also found on Penang Island. It's one of the larger woodpeckers of the world. And also we have this so-called chestnut-capped thrush, haven't been sighted for years already. And we have some migrants on the Penang Hill also, the grey-faced buzzard before it goes off to Sumatra, and some orange-headed thrush, eyebrow thrush, and some flycatchers. So that's part of Penang Hill. Shall we go to the next slide? Next slide, please, Wuti. Okay, near to Penang Hill is Aitam Dam and Bukit Penara Forest Reserve. Aitam Dam is a water catchment area. So certain areas you may need permission to enter. And I think there's also a closing time at night. So you're not supposed to enter after 7 or something like that. And next to Aitam Dam is the Bukit Penara Forest Reserve. It's a small forest reserve. So the starbirds down there is the green broadbill. The green broadbill is Penang Island only broadbill. So if you find any other species of broadbill, same thing, contact me. And you'll get the fluffy backtip bubbler, Malaysian cuckoo, Ticker's blue flycatcher. I think they call it Indo-Chinese blue flycatcher now. And the grey rum tree swift. There is our only tree swift on the Penang Island. And you may get some rare migrants like the Mugi-Maki flycatcher, orange-headed thrush, blue rock thrush, and the dark-sided flycatcher. Next slide, please. We're still on the island. So this is the Penang National Park near the entrance. Well, Penang National Park is not so birdy in a sense compared to Penang Hill, maybe because it's drier, probably a bit more sandy habitat also because it's near the coast. But yeah, you can still find the white rum shama there. It's still fairly common there. The hairy-backed bulbul, the Pacific Reef egret at the entrance, and the blue-winged pitta is probably nesting there. The brown fuvelta, and the blue-eared kingfisher. That's our only record for the island. If you see it, make sure it's not the common kingfisher or something else like that. So it's quite rare, the blue-eared kingfisher. It's also the green broadbill and the pufferfish owl. And we have some rare migrants there, like the brown-chested jungle flycatcher and the ruddy or ruddy kingfisher, the oriental honey buzzard, yellow rum flycatcher, and the dusky warbler. The dusky warbler is quite specialized there. It's found on the more of on the northeastern part of Penang Island, which is where Penang National Park is located. So next to the Penang National Park, there's something called the Telok Bahang Forest Reserve. It's just next to each other. The Penang National Park is run by the Department of Wildlife and National Park, but the Telok Bahang Forest Reserve is run by the Department of Forestry. So the Telok Bahang Forest Reserve, there's a nice forestry museum there. So this is a staff bird. I think it was identified. It was labeled as a busra, but I think my good friend from Perak, Uncle Kim Chai, thinks that it's more likely to be a Japanese sparrow. So you do go to the forestry museum. It's quite a nice place, nice small place. And I would say the starbird for Penang National Park is probably the short-tailed bubbler. Only a few places you can get a short-tailed bubbler on the island. So from the Penang National Park or Telok Bahang Forest Reserve, you can go through the back road or back way using the coastal road to Balik Pulau. This is Sungai Burong rice field and mud flats. So the starbirds there are the green imperial pigeon and the pied imperial pigeon along the coast. You do have copper-throated sunbird and the great tit or cinereous tit at the mangrove area. That's the only the great tit is fairly rare on the island, and if you search around Sungai Burong or the Balik Pulau rice field, you may locate some bee easter nesting grounds where previously the habitat are more sandy. And the Asian pied starling has been established a small family there. It's probably feral or introduced for quite some time already. It's been around there for 10 years. And you can get some migrants there also, including the imperial eagle. So Uti, give me a few minutes on this slide. So this, I'm going to the mainland now, Seberang Perai. So this is our Penang only IBA, MY03, Telok Ayer Tawar, Kuala Muda IBA. This slide is from Uncle Beng, passed away a few years ago, and he has contributed all his images to MNS. So this is the typical scene you can get at Telok Ayer Tawar. You can see a few number of species there. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Sorry, I was cut off. Now we're at this Bukit Panjor Forest Reserve. You can hear me, Wuti?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we're at Bukit Panjor Forest Reserve. It's on seberang Perai Selatan or south of mainland Penang. So for this place, I mainly go through our local resident birds only. So the great argus is supposed to be there, but haven't been seen for quite some time. The bedhawk is there, still around. Giant pita also haven't been seen for quite some time. And that's the only place in Penang where you can find trogon, two species, coloured rum trogon and orange-breasted trogon. And it's fairly good for woodpeckers also. A number of woodpecker species are found there, including the near threatened or threatened olive-backed woodpecker, orange-backed woodpecker, buff rum woodpecker, buff-necked woodpecker, collared kingfisher, banded kingfisher, and two frogmouths, but not the what you call large frogmouth. The Sorry, Wuti. Let's start off again. Next slide, please. Yeah. Next slide, please. So this is the two frogmouths that are found in Bukit Panjor, the banded kingfisher, and the grey-headed fish eagle. That's the only place which can be found on the mainland, but recently it was sighted at Air Tam Dalam Forest Reserve, which I shall come later. Next slide, please. Okay, so before I start or continue, that is Mr. Wee Beng Yen with one of his friends, from Ireland. This photo was taken a number of years ago at Air Tam Dalam. And on the right is there's me and the Star paper, a bit younger, where we are trying to promote birding as an ecotourism venture for the locals. So this is both taken at Air Tam Dalam Forest Reserve, educational forest reserve. So the starbirds there are the mangrove pita, mangrove blue flycatcher, a bit like what Aizat has said at KSMP, but we do get the straight-breasted woodpecker, black and red broadbill, spotted wood owl, buffy fish owl. The great-eared Niger is only found at Air Tam Dalam, but not at KSMP lah. There's a slight difference. The white-chested bubbler and the ruddy kingfisher is also found there. The migrant is chestnut-winged cuckoo, and recently Mr. Ham Kim Choi, our branch member, have sighted the shikra there, one of the few records of shikra on Malaysia, the taiga flycatcher, Japanese paradise flycatcher, and the one-shanks bittern. So these are some of the birds that can be found there. Air Tam Dalam Educational Forest Reserve. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay.
Yeah, Biram.
And this is also our famous Bairam or Pulau Burung wetlands and mangrove. Yeah, okay. This is Bairam. Correct, you're on the correct page. Bairam is in seberang Perai Selatan also, southern part of mainland Penang. Bairam or Pulau Burung.
Apologies, I think.
I'm back. Okay, I'm back. So these are some of the starbirds at Bairam. Mainly more of migrants, but this is the only place where the lesser adjutant are found on Penang or mainland Penang. And also we have for the lesser adjutant. So for the migrants, our usual rabbits are found there. Rare for Penang anyway, like the redneck phalarope, and a few region record or even region record, I would say, or state records. Tufted duck, northern pintail, gargany, Eurasian region. And there's also a country record, I think the knob-bill or comb duck was found there. and a few special sandpiper, the pectoral or sharp-tailed sandpiper, not so common in Malaysia. And also the Richard's pipit, previously considered as a paddyfield pipit. And then if you have the horseshoe bronze cuckoo from Australia, this is a bit rare. And the chestnut wing cuckoo is fairly regular there, a migrant of course. And the pheasant-tailed jacana also, a few records from there. Next slide, please. And so this is Bukit Juru and Batu Kawan. So we are back to Seberang Perai Tengah, center of mainland Penang. And that handsome guy there is Dennis Yong, our famous birder and a professional bird guide. I think at the back there's some Selangor branch member there also at the scope and looking at the other side. So at Bukit Juru is a long-tailed shrike. It's a bit common there also. And the orange-breasted pigeon, sort of a local specialty also. Yellow-vented pigeon, I think it was previously mentioned, it was only usually found on highland, but they do go down to mangroves and lowlands. So these are the few records of yellow-vented green pigeon in lowland. And Great Yet Niger, the usual stuff. And for the migrant, a few of the rarer migrants are found there. The Indian roller, the hoopoe, the black bittern, and the black bazaar is a regular there during migratory season. Next slide, please, Wuti. So this is the Penanti bee-eater nesting grounds. Oh dear, I think I got a wrong photo in. Just a minute, Wuti. Let me see what happened. Oh dear. So actually, this is the Penanti bee-eaters nesting ground, but unfortunately, it's been converted to a vanilla farm. Okay, or fortunately, depends on you lah. So those that intend to go to the Penanti bee-eater nesting ground, it's a vanilla farm now. Okay, so just be reminded, it's a vanilla farm now. So next slide, please. So this was taken about 5 years ago before it became a vanilla farm. Next slide, please. So I think I more or less finished all the, the usual more famous or more accessible birding location. So there are a few other places where you can go to. On the island, I did mention Penang Botanic Gardens or Municipal Park or Youth Park. They are next to each other. Bukit Relau, Bukit Gemura, and Metropolitan Park Relau, and Telok Gumpa, Getak Sangko, Pulau Betong area. And those that sometimes they sort of have a stopover at Penang at the airport for half a day, they can go to Telok Tempuyak near the War Museum area, and there's some small patches of mangroves near the World Fish Center that you can get the copper-throated sunbird. And if you're nearer to USM, those that are doing research there or at inside USM, and if you're inside USM, you can go to the Durand Valley. Okay, I was cut off. And inside USM, Unit of Malaysia, you can go to the Durand Valley. And other places on mainland Penang is the Bukit Petajam or Tok Kun Forest Reserve. Next to it is the Bukit Seraya Forest Reserve, Mengkuang Dam, and Bukit Suling. Bukit Suling is famous for the Oriental Pratingkol nesting ground. It's still there. It's still there. And we have the Pematang Pau, Pematang Nibong rice field. And further going back to south again, Sungai Aceh, Sungai Kran area near Nibong Tebal. And the Sungai Baung Relau areas or Relau Hills, where the streak-breasted woodpecker and the brown fish owl can be found. And we are back to north again, the Sungai Muda, Bumbong Lima area, where yellow-breasted bunting or bunting was recorded. So that's about all. SPU means Utara, SPT means Tengah, SPS means South. Next slide, please, Wuti. So that's about all from me, Chueng, Penang branch. So this is the Rufous neck stint taken just 2 months ago. So I came from far. Please protect my habitat so I can come and visit you again. This Rufous neck stint is lost his right or her right leg lah. Quite sad, but she's still or he's still struggling and moving about. So we must protect the habitat. Okay, thank you very much, Uti. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Chueng. And so we've gone to Penang, we've gone to Selangor, and we've gone to Frasers Hill. And now it's quiz time. So in your app, you should see the quiz appearing. So you welcome to do the quiz. We have prizes for you, sponsored by Penang branch from Chueng, and also from Selangor branch as well. So the prizes, I will order those and ship them to you for the first 3 winners. All right. And so the quiz is open. So now it's also Q&A time. So Adrian, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wuti. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adrian, and I'm in charge on the Q&A session. So for the first question, where are the good places to see hornbills in Fraser Hills? Question from Ashwin.
Okay, I think that's a good question. Generally speaking, the hornbills do not go to the top of the hill. The best places to see them is actually at a lower elevation. You recall the recent appearance of the helmeted hornbill? That area, during that time, has also sighted the white crown hornbill, has also sighted the wreath hornbill, rhinoceros hornbill, as well as the great hornbill. So try the lower elevation. I think you would have better luck there.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm referring to the road going up, the Gap Road going to Frasers Hill. Maybe about 3-4 kilometers below that from the top. I mean, which means that you have to park your car up in a hill and walk down.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. For the next question, for Mr. Tan, how to join the Penang birding group when I'm in Penang?
Yeah, I've already given out my
How to join the Penang
phone
birding
number.
group when I'm in Penang? Question from Cindy Quack.
Yeah, I already given out my phone number and my email. So just contact us. No problem.
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
Mr. Tan. So that's all for the Q&A session. Thank you so much, everyone, and the speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adrian. So we still have a bit of time. So maybe we open up for open question. You all birding friends maybe some can share and communicate with each other while you're waiting for the quiz to come through. I have a question for Chueng. You mentioned that the blue-winged pitta nest locally, is that right? They do nest in Penang?
Yes, it nests in Penang. Yes.
And where do they migrate to normally? Because I see them in Cambodia as well.
I think they have sort of two, I wouldn't call them two species lah. Some migrate, some don't migrate lah. So
just like just like the blue-tailed bee eaters, right? Some local and some migratory.
Yes, 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 yes. Something along that line.
Okay, thanks. And also the Oriental Prating Cole as well, because I do see them up further up north. Okay, so we now open the floor. So you want to say something, please just unmute yourself. Henry, you want to say something about the bird counting?
Yes, Bhuti, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, this bird count dates back to 10 years ago. So I think it's good for us to revisit, and especially for a pristine area like Frasers Hill, I think we should ensure that, you know, the habitat is protected. So the culmination of this result of the bird count, we hope to be able to present to the authorities and also to those who are interested, to students, to researchers, to anyone who is prepared to listen, that the reasons why Frasers Hill has to be protected. And one of the key reason is because birds, as we all know, are at the top of the food chain. And being at the top of the food chain, any disturbance to their habitat means a loss of bird life. And therefore, it also will tell us that the habitat, you know, is being disturbed. So a high bird count is a positive thing, whereas a lower bird count, we have to do something to correct the situation. Maybe plant more fruit trees in strategic areas to encourage the birds to thrive. Stop deforestation, you know, in the key areas, and some of the other positive work, you know, to try to conserve some of these bird species. So that essentially, we are doing that over a 1 year period, every quarter, starting from March, which is next week. And then after that, it will be June, which we'll do another 4 days. And then September, another 4 days. And finishing off in December. So if there are any interested parties from any branches who are interested, do let me know. I posted the link in my Facebook page, in Negeri Sembilan and Malacca page, and also in Selangor page. So feel free to contact me. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Maybe for the younger audience, Henry, from an overview perspective, why do we care so much about birds actually, from a conservation point of view?
Well, I think as an indicator of the health of the environment, the increase or decrease of the bird population, like birds in the mud flats, you know, we hear very often now that the mangroves are being cleared, that the mud flats are being used for building nice buildings and resorts. So that essentially depletes the habitat where these migratory birds from the north escapes the winter. They fly away from the very harsh winter to the south, to the warmer climate for just a couple of months. So they're actually like temporary visitors to our shores. And Peninsular Malaysia is actually connected right across to Australia and New Zealand on the one of the longest and largest flyway called the East Asian Australasian Flyway. And the birds follow this flyway and stop and feed along the way. And some of them actually stays in Malaysian territory for a couple of months before they go back. So we have to ensure that the habitat along the way, not only in Malaysia, but say in the countries above us on the northern side, are also ensuring that their coastlines, their mud flats, and also their forests are well taken care of, so that these birds by the thousands can thrive and go back. The other aspect, of course, is also the larger birds, which are the raptors, the migration. Every year we count about maybe 40 to 50,000. So any decline of that is an indication of habitat loss, which now we hear very often. So we have to do concerted effort to ensure that we work together, not only in Malaysia, but across the region, along the flyway, to protect this valuable, entity.
Okay, thank you, Henry. And talking about the Raptor Watch, the raptors, of course, now it's Raptor migration period, and due to the MCO, we are not able to have in-person program, but we do have an online program, I think on the 13th of March. You can check out the Facebook or MNS page. I think there's a one-day program on raptors, to celebrate the Raptor Watch itself. Of course, personally, you can go to the Tanjung Tuan, you can go to the Port Dickson area, and you can also observe the raptors, because during this COVID time, raptors actually don't stop, okay? They still migrate as normal, but of course we cannot gather in large numbers to watch them. You can go to their place in your own personal time, and you can still enjoy the raptors. All right, so now we finished the quiz. I will just share the screen with you to see exactly what is happening. And thank you very much to Selangor and also Penang for sponsoring the prizes. And as I mentioned before, I will collect them and then ship them to you. So we have, you can see the screen, right? Okay, so on the screen we have Liu Yok Mui, 100%, Ong Su Ping, 100%, and Liu Yok King at 80%, and Brian also at 80%. All right, so we see if we can have an extra prize for Brian and Liu Yok King as well. I'll let you know. Okay, I will speak to Penang and also Selangor branch on that note. I think should be okay. So congratulations and thank you very much for participating. So today we had, I think online here, we have 57 participants in the Zoom itself. Okay, thank you very much for joining us. Let me go back to the, okay. Oh, I wanted to share with you, if you can spread the message. Just now, Henry was talking about the importance of mud flats and so on. I have shared the link on our Facebook page and also in the chat box as well. Here is the development. This is a 12 billion ringgit development at the, here is Malacca. This is the Sungai Linggi River. You can see down south is Malacca and up north is Negeri Sembilan. So you can see the brown area, the mud flats, okay? And this is the 600 acres of reclamation for the Kuala Linggi International Port. So you can see it's actually right at the front of the river mouth. And I believe with this dredging here, it's going to dredge on for about 1 year. And this development is supposed to last for 10 years, but the first phase will be for 3 years. And I believe all these mangroves here are all very sensitive up further stream, up the Linggi. It's all, this is the mangrove forest area. We have the highest number of crocodiles in peninsular Malaysia in this area. Of course, we have fireflies upstream. And the other important thing is if you look at this Malacca coastline, this area, if I'm not wrong, accounts for 30% of the turtle nesting on the peninsular Malaysia. So these are the hawksbill turtles, okay? So definitely with this development, it's gonna impact all these so-called endangered species. So kindly spend your time to voice out voice up in the EIA feedback form. Thank you so much. And now I'll just conclude the session. Okay, so the next session is on the 20th of March. We have Anwar and also Dr. Chan Kai Sun speaking about birds of Terengganu and Perak. And so do keep your calendar schedule empty for that. It's at 2 p.m. And a big thank you to Adrian for the Q&A, and also to the very young Katana. She's only in standard 5. She actually volunteered to create the quiz for you that you've done just now. And also a big shout out to Linda Ho for guiding her on that. So on that note, thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks' time. All right. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Izzat. And also thank you, Chueng. We'll catch up with you again. All right.
Okay, thanks, Buddy, for organizing it.
All right.
Much appreciated. Yeah.
Welcome. Welcome.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Vuti, for organizing.
All right, Izzat. Thank you for taking your time to prepare. I know.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. A lot of time went to preparing this material. Thank you very much. And I'll see you again next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Beryl. I can see Beryl. Eating away. Bye-bye.